This is the Tristan Law Show. If it's your first time here, welcome. And if you've been here before, welcome back. I'm Tristan Law, semi-retired pro wrestler, and today, I'm your host. CM Punk has called himself the best in the world for years, but who actually gave him that title? Was it the fans? Was it the industry? Or did he just repeat it so much that he just started to believe himself? Well, today, we're going to break it down, and we're going to look at the case for, is CM Punk's claim true? Is he really the best in the world, or is he just the best in the world? By the end of this, I'm going to tell you whether we think that he truly deserves this or not. But when did CM Punk start using this phrase? And if it's your first time here, we're fully interactive. So go ahead and type out your messages. I want to see all your messages. I'm going to read all your messages. Whether you're catching this live or you missed it, I respond to every single message. So when did Punk start using the phrase? Calling himself the best in the world. He started using it in 2011 during his infamous Pipebomb. During his infamous Pipebomb thingy a couple years back. Anything happens when you're alive. So he started using it during the infamous Pipebomb segment that he had way back in 2011. He pretty much sat there, and this was during the build to Money in the Bank 2011. He pretty much told John Cena, the WWE champion at the time, as disrespectful as he could, he said, I got a couple things I want to get off my chest before I walk out with your championship in a couple of weeks. Like, how do you tell that to another grown man and not expect him to punch you in the mouth? I'll tell you why. Because John Cena was beat up and laying down on his back in the middle of the ring. So if you ask me, I don't think that John Cena was doing so good that episode. But it became a core part of his persona, being the best in the world. And there was already somebody calling themselves the best in the world to begin with. It was Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho was calling himself the best in the world. And he started wearing it. CM Punk started wearing a t-shirt, started wearing it on his gear, and even had it on the back of his DVD, right? Like I said, he was inspired by Chris Jericho, who was using the same phrase. But what CM Punk did was CM Punk made it feel authentic. And did he make it feel a little earned? Did he earn it by that point in 2011? Or was it just self-proclaimed, right? Because if I call myself the best podcaster, the best YouTuber in the pro wrestling industry, does it really make me the best? I would think so. I don't know. But did the phrase, another question I asked, did it evolve into something more of a catchphrase? I think so. I think it evolved into CM Punk's identity and who he truly was and who he was trying to show the world. Because here's a question. If you say something to yourself enough times, does it become true? That's a really good question. Let me know what you think in the comments when you're watching live in demand. Oh, Dom Delivers is here. Welcome, Dom Delivers. She says in the chat, he is not the best. Self-proclaimed champion. I love to see it. She says, toot your own horn. I think he did toot his own horn. But CM Punk, he called himself the best. But now we have to ask, did CM Punk wrestle like the best? That's what we're talking about next. Because being the best in the world, it just can't be something that's on a t-shirt. It just can't be something that you say because it's pro wrestling. CM Punk actually has to show up to the ring. And he actually has to work, right? You could talk about being the best employee ever at Walmart, but then when you get there, you actually have to do the work. Everybody's looking. So we're going to look at how CM Punk's in-ring work held up against the competition. But if you like what I'm doing, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are growing immensely here on the Tristan Law Show. We are up to, let me pull up the subscriber count. Let's see how many subscribers we have. We currently have 243 subscribers of our 500 subscriber goal, so I'm loving it. We are growing. Once I get to 500, we're going to be doing some really cool things here. So you're going to be one of the people that say you were here day one. So make sure you hit that subscribe. And if you don't like to see my ugly, mugly face, we actually have audio version only of every episode. It comes out 6 days after, so make sure you catch that. So looking at CM Punk's in-ring ability, I'm going to be honest here. And maybe CM Punk will see this one day. I don't know. I don't think CM Punk was the flashiest wrestler in the world. But before you kill me, just stop. Just stop for a second. It's not about the moves in the ring. And anybody that is anybody in the pro wrestling business will tell you that, right? They will agree with you that it's really not about the moves. Moves are nice, right? Moves are the garnish. But what really resonates with people in pro wrestling is the in-ring psychology and the storytelling. The moves are just a small part of the package. But if your psychology is straight and you can tell good stories, and of course you can do some of the moves, you'll be okay. Like looking at somebody like lying Hulk Hogan, right? He didn't really have that many moves. I can tell you every single Hulk Hogan match, right? We got enough time. I could tell you every Hulk Hogan match in like the 30 minutes that it'll take to do this episode, because he only had 30 moves. He didn't really do anything spectacular, but he was able to reach the fans with his in-ring psychology and his in-ring storytelling. But when you're looking at other wrestlers in the realm of the creme de la creme, right? You got people like Daniel Bryan, right? Or Bryan Danielson, whatever, or Daniel Bryan, whatever you want to call him. Depends on how you know him. He was technical. And then you had AJ Styles. AJ Styles is athletic. And then you got John Cena. John Cena brings that big match energy. So now when you're looking at all of those things there, I would say that CM Punk pulls a little bit from every single person. Is Daniel Bryan bring big match energy? I don't feel so, but CM Punk does. Right? Is John Cena athletic? Not by any means. Is he technical? No way. Right? Okay, how about AJ Styles? Right? AJ Styles, you can say he's a little technical, but he doesn't bring that big match energy. But every single time you see CM Punk coming out, you say, you know what? Stop talking, because I want to see what happens here. Okay? CM Punk has been in the ring with some of the biggest wrestlers in the world. Not only in name, but also in height, right? We've had him in matches with the 2011 Money in the Bank, right? CM Punk's the 2-time Money in the Bank winner. He's been in the ring with The Undertaker at WrestleMania 29. He's been in the ring with John Cena. That's CM Punk right there at WrestleMania 29. In MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. I have a confession to make. I've never really watched that match live. I was there in person, but I was asleep. I was tired. I was in the fire department at that time and working a regular job and doing all kinds of things. And when I got there, man, let me tell you, it was cold. So I put my hands on my jacket, and next thing I noticed, oh crap, the Undertaker's leaving. All right, cool, he won. Yeah. But the match was not bad. I'm not saying that. I've never just watched it live because I was there to watch it live, and I didn't. But was CM Punk the best in the world belt to belt, or just good enough to get by? Let's take a look at that. Here's what I think. If he was going to be called the best in the world, he had to be able to hang with the best in the world. Now, he didn't beat Undertaker at WrestleMania 29 because you knew that Undertaker was undefeated until he met Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania New Orleans, right? But he still stood toe-to-toe. He won the Money in the Bank ladder match, and he beat John Cena and took the WWE Championship. He was able to hang. He hung. He was able to say, you know what? I'm in that same tax bracket. He beat John Cena. Look, let me tell you about CM Punk's greatest week ever in pro wrestling. He beat John Cena, the WWE champion, on Raw. Not for the belt. He just beat him on Raw. He beat Rey Mysterio at the Premium Live event, or pay-per-views as we used to call him back in the day, called Capital Punishment. And Alberto Del Rio for the #1 contender spot. That was the best week in June 2011 for CM Punk. And then he went ahead to beat John Cena at Money in the Bank 2011 to become the WWE champion. If CM Punk calling himself the best in the world was something he believed in June 2011, I think he was making people believe it too. Because here's a question, let me know in the chat. Can you be the best if others were better in certain areas? Let's take a look at the chat. Dom Delivers says, affirmations are powerful. Speak life to yourself. Yeah, 100%. I believe that affirmations are really powerful. Your mouth is really powerful. Here's the way I look at it. God is probably real, or we're probably in the game The Sims with some fat kid in his room. That sounds rude. With some kid in his room playing The Sims, and we're a part of it. Or you know what? Your mouth is so powerful that it programs your brain to believe the certain thing, and then you act a certain way. I said that once I got out of broadcasting school, I wanted to get a job on the radio, and I got a job on the radio where I eventually was the morning host. And now I get to sit here in front of you and I get to talk about pro wrestling. So like one of the things that I think is crazy, that, you know what? Depending on however you believe, pick one of the three, right? But you know what? If you want to be the best at something, I tell people, you look in the mirror every single day when you brush your teeth, because I hope you brush your teeth every day. You look in the mirror every single time when you brush your teeth, or when you go to because I don't want to say or, because you should brush your teeth. And when you go into the bathroom and you wash your hands, you should wash your hands. You see two reasons for you to be in the mirror. And if you drive a car, while you are driving, take a look in the mirror when you're at the light. Don't do it while you're moving. It's not safe. Affirm yourself. Tell yourself that you're the best at something, or there's a goal that you want and you're going to get it. Because the only person that's stopping you from being what you want to be is you. So CM Punk wanted to be the best in the world. And in order for CM Punk to become the best in the world, what he needed to do is say it. Because now people start evaluating you to figure out if you are the best in the world. But here's the thing when it comes to wrestling. Even if you're solid in the ring, it's your voice that makes you immortal in the ring. You have to talk on the mic. And CM Punk had a voice that shook walls. When CM Punk gets ready to get on the microphone, you go, hey, stop talking. CM Punk's talking. Let's see what he has to say. So what we're going to do right now is that we're going to step outside the ropes for a second. You see what I did there? Wrestling, step outside the ropes. And we're going to look at one of Punk's greatest weapons, his mouth. Because nobody runs their mouth like CM Punk. But here's a question. Is CM Punk really the best talker of all? Look, next episode, I'm going to be introducing you to Michelle D. She's a track star, kung fu fighter, and a rock show opener. Yeah, she's done it all, but now she's going for gold at IWF Unstoppable in New Jersey on April 12th. This Tuesday, you're going to meet Michelle, and she's going to tell it all from her rise from lifting iron to laying opponents out in the ring. Her wildest matches and what drives her to keep breaking limits. It's going to be this Tuesday, live on YouTube at noon here in the Tristan Law Show. Make sure that you subscribe so that you don't miss it. All right, taking a look at CM Punk's mic game. Oh, real quick, on Monday we had a very special episode for a very good man. His name is Vince Steele. He passed away tragically in the ring on Sunday. So if you are looking to figure out who he is or learn who he is, after you watch that episode, just after you watch this episode, please go watch that one. It's a man that you should know that you didn't get to know, and what I think I did on Monday was I gave you the best chance to get to know him. That episode is a lot different than the ones that I normally do, but go ahead and check that out. There's a link in there for you to donate to the GoFundMe, and you could buy some t-shirts from his pro wrestling t-shirt. So go ahead and support the big man. It's the best that you can do. He has kids. He had kids. So go ahead and do that for him. But looking at Punk, his greatest weapon, that mouth, right? Sometimes your mouth too is the greatest weapon, right? Because your mouth will get you in so much trouble you won't even understand how you even got there, right? But with a mouth, there's two things that you need that go with a mouth. Two hands. Because if you're going to talk junk, you got to be able to fight. The Pipebomb changed the WWE. What CM Punk did was he made reality, what was happening in real life, a part of the show. People thought that when CM Punk was sitting there doing the pipe bomb, that it was just a part of the show. Here's CM Punk sitting there for the pipe bomb. And here's the question you have to ask yourself when you were watching it at the time. It was a part of the show, right? That's the best things that I think that make pro wrestling so cool, is that when you can't tell where the real starts and where you can tell where the real does not start. The pipe bomb, that moment where CM Punk sat there and unleashed everything about how he felt about the WWE, about then owner and boss Vince McMahon, I think that was the closest thing to the Austin 316 promo that CM Punk has ever did. When you're looking at the ring, one of the things they teach you in pro wrestling school, or one of the things that we learn in pro wrestling school, because, Tristan Loss, I'm a retired pro wrestler and your host. Thanks for joining me. One of the things that we learn is how to talk in a microphone, how to cut a promo. You have to be able to talk people into the seats, because you're sitting there and you're watching it on the television, and somebody has to talk you out of your house, talk your money out of your wallet, and talk you into the seat so that you can come there. And while you're there, you're going to buy some t-shirts, you're going to buy some popcorn, and you're going to pay for parking. It's a whole entire scam, left and right, if you ask me. But it's something that you have to master if you want to become a good professional wrestler. Or if you can't talk, you could be like somebody like Brock Lesnar. You have a mouthpiece like Paul Heyman for you until you can figure it out on your own. When you look at CM Punk's iconic promos, he's had promos against people like MJF, The Rock, and John Cena. And when you put somebody like that in the ring, who is just like holding no punches, and it's not even like he's condescending. Just the way that he talks to you is just like, oh wow, like I think he just hurt my feelings. You got him in there with somebody like John Cena, who is able to verbally clash with people in the ring, but then you got the people like The Rock and MJF who are just like savages on the microphone in the ring. And when you saw CM Punk out there with these people, it's like, oh, CM Punk just said something. Let's see what MJF or The Rock has to say. Oh, they said that? Let's see what CM Punk has to say. Oh, I want to see the rebuttal. And you turn back this way. It made for TV. Really good TV. And as a note, what I want to see right now, or eventually, not right now, because CM Punk's a little busy. What I eventually want to see on WWE TV is CM Punk in a program with LA Knight. I don't think it's a bad idea right now because, one, CM Punk has held almost every championship in the WWE, except which one? The United States champion. And guess who has it? LA Knight. Yeah. So it's something that I could probably see going on down the line. But CM Punk, when he got on the microphone, he made everything personal, which made him dangerous on the mic because you didn't know if he was just going to not pull punches and just hit you right below the belt. Because the thing with CM Punk is that he's not afraid to tell it like it is. The reason why I think that it's always personal for CM Punk is because pro wrestling was personal to him. It was his baby. It was his love. It's what he liked. Few could hang with CM Punk. But was he one of the best talkers ever? I don't know. You got people like Ric Flair, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock. You got MJF. In his own right, is one of the greatest talkers in the pro wrestling ring. And the guy's he's less than 29 years old. And then you got Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali, listen to me. I'm going to put you on right now. Muhammad Ali was never a pro wrestler. But a lot of boxing, the way that they talk and do the trash talk, is akin to pro wrestling. And Muhammad Ali was one of the best trash talkers out there. When I was learning how to cut a promo, to talk on the mic, Muhammad Ali was one of the people that I would see myself as talking on the mic because he talks some trash. That made you feel like, you know what? I want to come and see if you want to sting like a butterfly and float like a bee and, see if you could, One of the things that he said, Muhammad Ali said, is if you even dream about beating me, you better wake up, slap yourself, and apologize. Like, this is just trash talking in the microphone. And if you're hearing that, it's witty, it's quick, you don't expect it, you go, ooh, what happens next? But does talking on a mic make you one of the best overall? I think it's a small part. Punk, he could talk, no doubt. But being the best isn't about flash. It's about lasting power. So the next question is, what does his legacy say about his history? Let's take a look at the comments that we see. Dom Delivers in the house still. She says, talk plus skills equals greatness. I think that it's a whole entire package. Yeah, it's a package. It's like when you make a YouTube video. You got to do your thumbnail, you got to do your title, you got to do the topic, the descriptions, the presentation, all that stuff. It's a package. If one part falls out, it's not going to make it less great, but it's not going to be as great as it could be. But what we're going to do is that we're going to zoom out a little, because beyond the mic and beyond the matches, what will people remember CM Punk 10 to 20 years from now? Let's talk legacy. If you like what I'm talking about, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It means a lot. It means that I'm doing a good job. You're working on growing this channel into something bigger than I don't even understand what it's going to become, but I feel it's going to be something really big to where we're tuning in and just watching pro wrestling and talking about pro wrestling together. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It means a lot. Does CM Punk's legacy, does his legacy, is everything that CM Punk done prior to today make him the best? I don't know. Let's look at it. When you're looking at CM Punk, he was one of the modern longest reigning champions. You've had people like, okay, you know what I'm going to do? Here's how I'm going to do this. I'm going to give this to you in decades. I'm going to pull out decades of wrestlers, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you, over the past 45 years, I'm going to give you the longest modern reigns, right? The number one in each decade, and don't worry, it's not going to last long at all. Trust me. So from 2020 to present, right, this current era, from 2020 to the present era, this current decade right here, the person that's held the WWE Championship the longest is Roman Reigns with 734 days. I think that's impressive if you ask me. And then you have John Cena at 380 days as the champion. He was the champion during that decade from 2000 to 2009. That was his decade. And then we got Hulk Hogan at 364 days. Listen, Roman, in the last 45 years, there's been more champions than Solomon had wives. And in the past 45 years, there's 4 people that have held the championship the longest. Number 1 is Roman Reigns with 734. CM Punk comes in at number 2 at 434. John Cena comes in at 380. And Hulk Hogan comes in at 364. Those are the top 4 WWE champions in the last 45 years. If you added the previous decade to that, Bruno Sammartino would have been in there. It's the guy. Is he the best? Is he not the best? CM Punk left WWE in 2014. We're looking at his legacy. Did quitting hurt CM Punk's claim as the best in the world? I don't know. Sometimes you just have to know that you're so damn good that you just got to leave. When CM Punk quit the WWE in 2014, he said, I was sick, hurt, burnt out, and I walked out. And I can do that because I'm an independent contractor. I mean, how you going to tell the guy that he don't work here when he don't really, that he can't, when he just, punch the clock, CM Punk left wrestling because he had zero passion for pro wrestling. I remember when I worked so hard at pro wrestling, and I was wrestling in an area. I don't want to name the area where I was wrestling. If you know me, you know. And I had to make a 30-minute drive to a pro wrestling show. I was so used to making hour drives, hour and a half drives, 2-hour, 3-hour drives. And I was so excited that wrestling started coming close to my house that I can go and wrestle for my local communities. And I never forget, when I had to make that 30-minute drive and I didn't want to do it, I knew that I was losing the passion. CM Punk lost the passion for pro wrestling and did the same thing that I did. He left pro wrestling. There was a time that I didn't like pro wrestling, right? And it was just that the business is a lot different then than it is now. I'm talking about indie pro wrestling. Indie pro wrestling is on a resurgence, all because WWE is doing great and it was super popular. I was wrestling in front of places where I could fit all the people that were in that place into this studio right now. And it wasn't a problem for, it was a problem with the business. right? Everybody was burnt out. They came off the Attitude Era. They tried the PG era. WWE was still growing, putting 50, 60,000 people in arenas. There only was 1 yard to play in. That was the WWE at the time. And it was like, all right, we're trying here. We're trying. I got a message that says, Pipebomb from Dom Delivers. And what about Cena? Well, Cena was 380 days as WWE champion from 2000 to 2009. That was his era. That's where he fell. He wasn't the champion for those whole 10 years, but within that 10-year era, that's where he fell. Thank you for your message. So CM Punk left the WWE in 2014. He did make appearances, though. Allegedly, CM Punk made appearances on the Indies in 2015 and 2019. When I say the Indies, I'm talking about independent wrestling. But you don't really know if it was CM Punk. You know why? Because the person that purported to be CM Punk was wearing a hood. That's a pro wrestling term, a hood. He was wearing a mask. His face was covered. So if you didn't know, you didn't know. Oh, just some guy in a mask. But then, what happened when CM Punk stepped back into wrestling? Because sometimes you need to leave something for a little bit just to figure out if it's for you. Then WWE decided to launch a sports-style Fox show. Wow, I just ate all those words. Then WWE decided to launch a sports-style show on Fox. You see how the sentence makes so much more better? More sense. Whatever. We just keep moving on. It was called WWE Backstage, and CM Punk made a surprise appearance and then joined the cast only because he was employed by Fox Sports and not the WWE. And then you know what happened? The pandemic. The pandemic happened and they eventually canceled the show. There was no more WWE Backstage. But I think that WWE Backstage was a time where pro wrestling was boiling. We didn't know where pro wrestling was going to be because AEW had just launched. So that means pro wrestling was getting more popular to where we are today. And I'm getting the goosebumps thinking about it because pro wrestling is so hot. It is so passionate. It's such a thing for everybody to love. Pro wrestling is mainstream. Pro wrestling is back. Oh, yeah. Pro wrestling is popular. It's what we do. If it wasn't popular, I wouldn't be sitting here. You wouldn't care enough to be watching on a random Friday afternoon at 12. But CM Punk, he made his return to pro wrestling in 2021. There was a rumbling that CM Punk would come back to pro wrestling, and where was he going to land? AEW. He made his huge return in August 2021. But how did that end? If you don't know, you don't know. But I will make sure that you know by the time we get to this. But looking at the problems that CM Punk had in AEW, I think the issue, and I don't know CM Punk. I've never heard this from CM Punk. CM Punk hasn't texted me this. He hasn't followed me at the Real Big Tris on Instagram to tell me this, but this is what I think. I think that AEW, at that time in 2021, was still trying to find their identity. AEW, they weren't really a corporate ran pro wrestling company that CM Punk was used to in the WWE, but was a corporate business ran by wrestlers. And I think that that's a part of the problem. Because CM Punk realized that pro wrestling is that AEW was a crap show because although WWE was toxic for him at the time, there was some sort of structure that AEW lacked. The problem that CM Punk had in AEW was that, let me drop the bomb for you like this. Yeah. Listen close. The problem with CM Punk in AEW was that CM Punk was in AEW. That's it. That's the whole entire hot take. The reason, the problem with CM Punk in AEW was that CM Punk was in AEW. The fans were ready for AEW, but AEW wasn't ready for Punk. AEW was built as the alternative to WWE. And was it the alternative? Yeah. But it wasn't really what CM Punk was used to. They always say that grass isn't really green on the other side. It's greenest most where you water it. Okay. At the time of 2021, AEW was still a young company with growing pains. And CM Punk expected probably a well-oiled machine. Instead, he got chaos wrapped in a wrestling ring. AEW had live TV. They had a production that was similar and close to WWE. They probably had WWE money, right? They had a crap ton of money. but it was not WWE. Punk and AEW decided to part ways. If you don't know why, that's not what we're covering here. We're covering is whether CM Punk is the best in the world, and right now we're looking at his legacy. But eventually in 2023, CM Punk returned to WWE. CM Punk said he would never return to the WWE, and it's one of those things that I used to work for a company, and I said I would never return to that company. And sometimes it's not where you work, it's who you work for. Coming out of the pandemic, pro wrestling itself as a whole was underneath a metamorphosis. One of the constant things during the pandemic was pro wrestling. If there's nothing else on TV, you know you could always tune in and watch pro wrestling. You had so much pro wrestling going on. Vince McMahon also sold the WWE to the parent company that owns UFC. And then he got ousted from the WWE and the parent company TKO. We're not talking about that today. We're talking about CM Punk being the best in the world, or the bust in the world. So then Triple H, the game, is now at the head of creative in the WWE, and Vince McMahon is no longer involved in the WWE, and pro wrestling itself was now in a renaissance. WWE, regardless of what any fan out there wants to say, they steer the ship. If WWE is doing well, every pro wrestling company would do well. It has a trickle-down effect. And that includes the indies, that includes podcasters, that includes movies, that includes YouTube channels. Because when pro wrestling is hot, you just can't get enough. And that's why people like me thrive on YouTube. CM Punk made his return to the WWE after 14 years at the end of Survivor Series 2023, overshadowing the return of Randy Orton. That is going to be a problem for CM Punk one day, I promise you. Because Randy Orton is going to be at his front door. CM Punk better be ready. If someone is the best in the world, should they be undeniable in every company? That's a question. Tell me what you think in the comments. But after all that, the hype, the setbacks, the legacy, are we truly ready to say right now, at this point, that CM Punk is he the best in the world, or is he the bust in the world? Because what we're going to do right now is we're going to tie it all together. You've heard the case, and I think it's time for final judgment. And if you like what I'm doing so far, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. Live episodes every Tuesday and Friday at noon. And we also have some short content as well, too, here on YouTube. Check that out. Ask a lot of questions. We have a lot of fun here. But here's the final verdict. CM Punk really the best in the world? We've taken a look at everything. We've taken a look at his in-ring work. We've taken a look at his promos. We've taken a look at his legacy. The controversy. Does CM Punk deserve to be called the best in the world? I think so. Before this episode, I never really saw the hype around CM Punk. I never really saw what made CM Punk so special. I knew that CM Punk was good at what he did, but what made CM Punk stand out above the rest? Maybe when Pro Wrestling Illustrated said that he had comeback of the year in 2021. Out of all the comebacks in pro wrestling, he was the comeback of the year. In 2011, 2022, and 2024, CM Punk had the feud of the year. He had the feud of the year with John Cena, MJF, and Drew McIntyre. Now, the most common denominator in that is CM Punk. In 2011, he had match of the year with John Cena. Out of all the matches in 2011, CM Punk's match with John Cena at Money in the Bank was chosen as match of the year. All right, most hated wrestler in 2012. Now, that's a claim to have. Out of all the people that you can dislike in pro wrestling in 2012, they chose CM Punk. In 2011 and 2021, he's the most popular wrestler. Wrestler of the year in 2011 and 2012, he was ranked number 1, top singles wrestler out of 500 in the universe in 2012. He's a multi-time champion in Ring of Honor, and the only championship that CM Punk has not held in the WWE was the United States Championship. He has 2 Money in the Bank championship wins. He won the AEW championship twice doing his cup of coffee in AEW. If you ask me, I think that when you're looking at CM Punk, CM Punk is more decorated than my mother's Pandora bracelet. Is CM Punk the best in the world? Well, I think it depends on how you see it. Because like I said before, prior to this episode, I didn't see what's special about CM Punk. Is he the best in the world or is he the bust in the world? Look, I think he's the best. It's undisputed. Who right now is the best? Who is better than CM Punk? Not Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes is not as decorated as CM Punk. Who's the best in the world right now in pro wrestling? Because you've heard the case. Was he the best in the world or was he just saying it? Drop a comment. We're going to vote. Drop the comments in there and let me know whether you're watching this live or on demand. I want to hear what you think because I'm just one voice. I want to hear what you think. It's not a one-way thing that we do here. It's two-way. We talk to each other like Dom Delivers. She's always in here and she's messaging and everything else. Shout out to her. Check out her podcast, Dom Delivers, wherever you can find a podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget, on Tuesday, live at noon, here on YouTube, we're going to have track star, Kung Fu fighter, and rock show opener, Michelle D. She's going to be live here on the Tristan Law Show for an interview. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe because subscriptions mean a lot. I'm Tristan Law, and this is the Tristan Law Show. Go watch some wrestling this weekend, and go check out the tribute that I did for Vince Steele. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you next time. Windowless ride, feeling alive, nothing in sight, forever in flight. Follow the